Mr. Brother Desires, Mr. Brother Love is back in the media tabs again. Oh man, ever since Scorpio season, he been on fire, right? But let's see what's really going on. So let's go through some birth chart influences and see how Pluto and Aquarius is playing a part in his life. As soon as I pull up the chart, what's the first thing that catches my eye? I already know Diddy's a Scorpio, but seeing that Mars 29 degrees in Capricorn, that is extremely significant. Mars is the ruler of his sun sign, so wherever Mars is at is going to dictate a whole lot when it comes into his true aspirations, how he shows up with his actions and expression in the world, on top of, his goals and what he's here to expand his consciousness with. We talk about the power that comes with the critical degree, but one thing I don't see spoken about a lot is the responsibility that comes with it, because you brought so much experience from your past life dealing with that energy. So you will manifest a lot of responsibility here, okay? And when we talk about 29 degrees Capricorn, this is showing someone that has accumulated a lot of influences in their past life, understanding how to work an infrastructure, how to build the infrastructure and navigate it, okay? Now the thing is, it brings the influence of Aquarius, which deals with relationships out in the world, societies in general. What do we know about Scorpio? It can attract the resources of others. This man knows how to work through other people and build the infrastructure on the backs of others. And when it comes into Aquarius energy in general, that's taking us into things dealing with secret societies, groups, and associations that are more so behind the scenes. Aquarius is a very mystic energy, all right? So 29 degrees, all that experience, that helps him to attract situations where he can navigate certain relationships, once again, to help build the infrastructure, his brand, his business, bad boys, all right, and help establish himself in the world. But once again, he already has experience doing this. Now, the thing here is, when we look at the activity with Mars, it's harmonizing with Pluto and Uranus, and that goes deep. When Mars and Pluto comes together in a chart, especially if they're aspecting positively, which is a sextile, a trine, just like Diddy has it, or a conjunction, this person is very powerful and intuitive when it comes into being able to bring positive transformation to an environment, a group, a business in some type of way. But it can develop, it will develop manipulative tendencies, and it comes down into this person being able to not take advantage of others because they're able to pinpoint the traumas, the insecurities, or the weak spots in somebody's subconscious. So it really comes down to the light or dark side with how you use that power. Okay, now Mars short term goals and passions, Pluto long-term goals and passions. Diddy will use an artist. He will use somebody, for a short chapter in order to support a long-term sense of stability in his life, especially with Pluto, which is the more long-term influence, being in the same sign as his moon. Moon, emotional needs. He needs stability to feel comfortable, and he has all this intensity with Mars and Pluto-like energies, dealing with extreme influences, desires within this space. So he can be very extreme, very manipulative in order to manifest that sense of stability, guys. Now, y'all know this, he a freaky ass nigga. This is a freaky ass nigga right here. We seeing it come out right now. All right, I ain't have to, you could have just showed me this chart and I would have told you this person is going to have to learn to sit down, because there's a lot of desire energy. But the thing is, back to the ruler, back to Mars. Mars is harmonizing with Uranus. Uranus is at early degrees in Libra. But what else is in Libra? All right, before we talk about what that means, what else is in Libra? Venus and Jupiter. Jupiter expands on his experiences dealing with love matters. He's probably very experienced dealing with love matters and relationships and feeling the pleasure from sensuality at a young age in general. Jupiter will, evoke a lot of these experiences being next to whatever planet it's next to. So him not being able to put restrictions or learn how to discipline things, what makes him feel good, it becomes an issue with this placement. And the fact that Mars harmonizes with Uranus, Uranus is androgynous, okay? So these people can be very persuasive and find ways to make other people go against their standards in relationships, right? So Diddy be dating somebody and she'd be like, I'm not with threesomes. He's like, oh, you gonna be into threesomes. I don't want to deal with another girl. Oh, you gonna deal with another girl. And then because he has the sense of Jupiter in there and he's constantly expanding on things dealing with relationship activity, putting Uranus in there, depending on his desires, this starts to push him into wanting to be a little bit curious, to possibly seeing how experience with the same sex would be, and it just goes from there, okay? But not only will he have that curiosity dealing with his sexual orientation He will be forceful on others about it. Once again, Mars harmonizing with Uranus. We already know his Mars is supported by Pluto energy. And then he has Venus in Libra, so he'll have a way of kind of charming and disarming you, talking you into situations before he even gets to a forceful space. This is a very manipulative, like this guy could play some mind games. He's a sun and Mercury in Scorpio. He's identifying your weak spots, your traumas, and how he can wave temptations in front of your eyes in order to get you to participate with something. So when he starts gaining power in his life, you know, it's almost easy game as far as how he will take advantage of others, and it's easy to see that. And I'm not surprised that these things are coming about. I'm not surprised that he's been doing this his whole career. Now he also has Saturn in Taurus. This is extremely significant. Saturn is already indicating one of the most karmic points in the chart, if not the most karmic point, aside from our sun moon activity and our nodes. But we know we have to deal with discipline, structure here, right? And it helps us understand how to navigate this reality. Saturn and Taurus generation need to learn how to place restrictions and learn how to discipline things when it comes into physical pleasures in the material realm, right? That food that makes you feel good, sex, that drink that makes you feel good. And also learn how to establish healthy values in order to build their stability and their sense of stability and security in this lifetime. But the reason why it's so significant to him, because it's opposing his Scorpio alignment. So it's showing he come from a past life, from a series of past lives, not understanding how to discipline his desires. Okay, he's struggling with it, but Mars is harmonizing with that Saturn. So this is why he's such a workhorse. This is why you could see old clips of him talking in the early bad boy days, talking about how bad he wants it, how he's gonna manifest this, that, and the third. We already know he got past life experience building and navigating infrastructure in the physical realm. So with hitting Saturn is showing from a trying to, it's showing he's been here, done that. He know how to get money. He know how to build stability. And that's why he may be very forceful, because he's that confident with himself that he could just use this, use that to get his gain and really not care about what happens afterwards. Also has dark Lilith in Cancer. So that's going to bring dark experiences with family matters in the home environment. Okay. His father was shot at a young age at 3 years old, and because it's in Cancer, it can impact things with the mother. So even though he lost his father at a young age through a traumatic experience, even though he might not remember it like that because he's only 3 years old, it may have really affected the way his mother deals with connection. All right, so that's very significant how he takes that into his relationship life, knowing that he has Venus and Jupiter in Libra, but that Lilith energy squares the Libra energy. So he may already have he may already come from a dark space when it comes into connecting and building relationships, no matter how charming he may come off with that Venus energy. And then lastly, guys, to put the icing on the cake, why is all of this happening? We broke down the significance of his Mars placement, but what's next to it right now? Pluto. Now, Pluto been by his Mars for a while. So as soon as it started touching up on Aquarius a little bit, this is when things started hitting the atmosphere. Pluto, propaganda, okay? Aquarius, narratives, news, okay? Messages traveling through the airwaves, you know, when it comes into society in general. Now Pluto gets into Aquarius, and depending on these Aquarius-like relationships that he might have developed in his life, all right, guys, especially having Uranus in Libra, that could also show someone being able to know people that could pull some strings behind the scenes, all right? Power and controlling like energies, family, okay? So now that Pluto is in Aquarius and it hits this Mars, depending on his ego and how much power he thinks he has, he may have bit the hand that not only have fed him, but protected him, okay? And he just manifested being the person to be used as being exposed in this space, especially with, you know, Mars being the ruler of his sun. So things that his son been doing behind the scenes is now hitting the airwaves. And then on top of that is Aquarius. Aquarius squares Scorpio. So Aquarius will air out all of that Scorpio influence. Aquarius will air all of that out. That's where they be beefing at. Scorpio and Aquarius. Scorpio be behind the scenes. They both spiritual as hell. But Aquarius is way more blunt, direct, and rebellious. Let me not say blunt and direct. They're both blunt and direct, but way more outspoken in a rebellious way. All right, guys. So hopefully that brought clarity as to why Mr. Brother Love is going through what he's going through. And guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Tap into my Patreon to catch a whole full breakdown of what's going on in Diddy's life.